Welcome to Becoming Fearless, the personal growth podcast for you if you are ready to overcome fear and step into your greatness. Our purpose is to help you overcome your limits, have loads of fun along the way, unlocking your fullest potential in life, business, health and relationships every single day. I'm your host, Charlotte Carter, a high-performance coach and entrepreneur with over 20 years' experience. I've supported many highly driven, talented people like you who dream big and are ready to take action to overcome what's holding them back. Each week, my guests and I will be sharing hacks and habits on how to build self-belief, courage and confidence to master your mindset and navigate your emotions so that you can reach your human potential in a way that feels light, fun and easeful and helps you become fearless. Let's go. Hello and welcome to another episode of Becoming Fearless. I am excited and really looking forward to this episode. It's a guest episode with somebody that I'm currently working with. So let me just set the scene first of all with you all. So for those of you that have been in my world a while, I have been in the energy field for quite a while. I've worked with some top class mentors and I have experienced a lot of energetic growth, spiritual growth, awareness, and all of the things. And I met Amanda in a program that we both joined a few months ago. And I was like, that's the person who's next. And it was totally intuitive. It was totally magnetized. And I was trying to tell myself for many, many months that I didn't need that and I should just sit on my own. And it wasn't the right it wasn't the right space. It wasn't the right time. And told myself all these things because I was working through the whole shiny object syndrome. And then I was like, hang on a minute. What game are you playing? Just jump on a call, which is what I did. And then I just jumped in and we have been having one hell of a ride since. So let me introduce you to the wonderful Amanda. And Amanda, let people know what you do now and what kind of people that you help.
Okay, so I'm an expert in energetics, but I'm an empowerer to help others in energetics. So what that really means is that I basically have a certification where you can be ignited in an energy called Inigma. And this is the most potent, powerful, transformative energy to Earth. A great analogy is that, I've trained in all energy work. I was back in 97, I trained in all types of Reiki. But Reiki is like a drone compared to Enigma is like the Starship Enterprise. It literally is the most potent, powerful energy in the universe and multiverse at this time. It's incredible. And what I do is I ignite it in someone to empower them to basically become all that they are. And that's really so shedding all their fear, every single last thread of it. And I specifically work with coaches, visionary leaders, visionary experts, because the way that this energetics works, it literally turbocharges and supersizes your own ability to transform others because of the way that the potent energetics work with the client base, not just one-to-one, but in groups, with an audience, if you're public speaking. So it's really incredibly empowering for those people that want to create absolute fantastic change and impact in an individual, but on a big scale.
And as I'm in that whole process, it is exactly as Amanda describes, if not more potent. And like I say, I've been in this space working with some global experts, and Amanda is, up in that category for certain on a whole different level. And I am bringing Amanda back in on the podcast in about 6 months' time to talk more about my journey because I'm right in it and there's a lot going on. So let's talk about your kind of like first awareness of the whole spiritual realm and take people on a journey of who you were then and how it all came to take you on this journey that you are on now.
So back in the 90s, I was working in advertising in Leeds, and I was a buyer. I actually bought advertising space. I was spending millions of pounds of other people's money on advertising space, and I truly had no thought. I didn't believe in God. I didn't believe in energetics. I didn't believe in any of that. And in fact, I remember a guy in the production department, or a designer, saying he was going for acupuncture, and I was like, what a load of rubbish. And what actually happened for me was I basically had a relationship that caused me a lot of pain. Basically, he cheated and all sorts of different things happened. It was quite an emotionally abusive relationship. And when we finished, I thought there has to be another way to come through this. And I'd hurt my knee at the same time. So I thought, oh, I'll go for an acupuncture session. Next news, I'm training to be an acupuncturist. This is how powerful it was. Like, I had one acupuncture session. It was so powerful and potent. At the same time, I was reading a book. I was reading Brandon Bay's The Journey, but I was also reading Jill Edwards' Step into the Magic. And it triggered something in me, it opening me up to the possibility that I created that world, that I'd actually attracted him in because of my own fears. And I wanted to make that change. And so then I discovered Reiki, and I was like, oh my Lord, I have to have every one of them. I got attuned to every single possible type up to master within a year. And the more that I learned about acupuncture, the more I learned the depth of energetics within the physical body and how the emotions were connected. And so I then stopped advertising, gave up the job, and set up a business in acupuncture, Reiki, energetics, and I spent a lot of time, years, working in that field, one-to-one energetics, coaching, mentoring, because I attracted a lot of women wanting to get pregnant. And for some reason, I now understand why, because I have this energy that creates, I've got creation energy, they would come to me and they'd just get pregnant so quickly. And so that really sort of expanded my field to understand more about the pain, getting over grief and fears related to miscarriage and secondary infertility and a whole plethora. It was a fantastic foundation, actually, for me to understand. So I did loads of training in this, particularly mindset stuff.
Yeah, and I think it kind of like all has come full circle, hasn't it, to be able for you to be able to bring this Inigma to the world. And interestingly, when I first started in my Inigma journey, let's call it that, and I was sort of understanding about these energies, there was a part of me that's like, I want to be a creation energy. I want to be that. I think that I'm that. And my head was like wanting to be a creation energy because I thought that was really cool because I like doing new things. And then I remember understanding more about it. I was like, oh, no, I know what I am. I'm a transformation energy. So I help transform 100%. And I remember in that moment, it was a real clarity moment for me when I looked at everything that I'd done in the past, everything that I'd worked 20 years in mental health, worked with people. It was all about micro and macro transformations with people. And that's what Becoming Fearless podcast and experience and everything that I'm doing next is all about, this transformation of myself and then in others.
Exactly. The transformation is so potent in you, and you set the intention to transform, and you do everything you can to succeed in that transformation for whomever you're targeting, basically. It's powerful. It's very powerful.
Super powerful. I love it. And we love. I love sharing with Amanda all of the things that are going on that just blow my mind. So let's talk. Let's talk about the whole, like, higher self and guides. Let's give people a little bit of an education, because some of my listeners in this space will be really curious. They always are. People are always curious about people that I've invested in, for certain, on one level. They're curious about watching my journey. That's part of me being a leader. But explain to people who are more new to this kind of a life outside of the human existence. And let's open up that.
Well, it's my favourite conversation. So we're incredible energetic beings living a physical life, but we're not alone. We have 4 separate energies with us at all times from the moment we're born. We have what's called a higher self, who actually has an energetic connection to us. So often when you hear intuitive voices or knowings or you think something, you think, where's that come from? Or that, oh my God, that's a great idea. Often it's your higher self guiding you because it feels like you. They're a completely different person. And I call them people because they just don't have bodies. They're just the same as us. They just don't have, this 3D body. We also have a main guide, and the main guide is there to support, and usually in your own specialism, in terms of if you're coaching, for example, they will be there in a specialist. I've got 2 main guides that work for healing because I'm fundamentally a healer, and so I've got, they've kind of changed now, but and then you have a watcher, and many people call them a guardian angel. So your watcher is there watching all the time because they're trying to guide you. And so when you get this sometimes you'll get a knowing that flows all the way up you, and you're like, oh, I know I need to go and do that. That's your watcher sending you signs. They're the ones that send you the sequential numbers. They're the ones, the feathers. It's kind of like, watch out. They're the ones that will remind you to Google something, and then suddenly you'll get somewhere because you're trying to manifest something. And then you have a gatekeeper. So when people say, St. Michael or Archangel Michael, protect me, you don't actually need protection from non-physical. Your gatekeeper is in charge of all of this, and the gatekeeper is not about protecting you. They're more like a VIP bodyguard. So they are kind of like, no, she's tuned in and she's doing some work. I'm sorry, great Edna, auntie, whatever, you can't come and chat to her. She might be tuned in, but you're not having a chat. Or you might be able to want to talk to somebody, one of the non-physical people in the whole of the universe or multiverse, and they, with their prowess, will go and tap them on the shoulder and say she wants to have a chat, and she'll then facilitate that guide to come to you. So they all have a role. The gatekeeper tends to step back, isn't really sort of like there. The watcher's much more sort of like a background person. So it's your higher self will facilitate all of this. And your main guide kind of comes in when you're working, basically. So that's the team that every single person on Earth has. So when you feel a presence behind you, or a tickle or a sensation, it's them saying, hello, we've got messages for you.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that particular moment there for people, because, some people are very fearful when they first, I've got friends in this space who are very fearful. They're like, I keep getting these kind of nudges and signs, and like you've just said, this kind of like, hello, and I'm petrified. Some people are really scared, aren't they? What's your advice to those people?
My advice to those people is okay, so let me explain what's going on first, and that might help shift perspective. So we all have a soul contract that we write before we come to Earth, to physical. And this is not something that is given to you and you just go, oh, good. This is something you're involved in. Your higher self is involved in. Your teams are involved in. You train like the SES trains in the ethereal realms to be prepared. So you basically have this set of requirements that your higher self and team are working to, because they have to abide by it. And so at some point, if you're getting the call to come out of the spiritual closet and you're getting the presence, etc., it's because you said to your higher self and your team that this is the time. At this point in your journey, you want to be aware of your higher self, because the way that you're working or the way you're living needs to change slightly, and it will literally transform it. And so they're going to be persistent. They're not going to give up. They are going to continue. And what happens is, with the feelings, is we all have what's called, it's like a calling card. Every guide has a calling card. So, for example, my main guide is called Hilarion, Ascended Master Hilarion, and he makes my hands really hot. And so whenever he's around, he makes my hands hot. So Samir used to be my watcher. She would literally, Angela's taken this one over. Angela's my higher self. But Samir she just so funny. She used to poke me in the back, and it was a burning feeling in my back, to say, come on. She was very persistent. And so all these, and there's one guide that comes and stands on my left foot, like it's like a man is standing on it, because he wants to get my attention. And so I'm like, you just really at this point. So all these tickles and tingles and weird sensations are literally your team trying to remind you it's okay. And there is absolutely nothing to fear in non-physical. There's been quite a lot of mistranslation, and basically over the years, quite a lot of information is because of our own, it's called mistranslation and infiltration, because of our own fears. When we are being guided, it can flow in, the information flows into our conscious mind and goes to the pineal gland where it's translated. And what can happen is your guides can be flowing love, and it comes out the other side in your conscious mind as hate. And so over the years, Chinese whispers have happened, and there's quite a lot of mistranslation about what goes in non-physical and the ethereal realms. None of it is true. It's only love. They only have love for you. So the fears, I used to feel so terrified of non-physical. I used to think I was evil. And when I got to the bottom of it, it was The Wizard of Oz, a film when I was 3. I watched this film, one of the Wicked Witches, and I connected to a Wicked Witch, and they were in non-physical. And then my higher self, that night, when I saw in a vision, she'd come and given me I think Samir was literally, they were flowing energy to me, and I could feel it. And I thought it was them coming to get me. And so these fears come from childhood, where you create a story in your mind and it's just not true. So when I realised that, I was like, oh, so I'm not a wicked witch and I'm not evil. So, all right then. And then that opened up the possibility for me to be able to receive more from my higher self, because the fear was making me repel it.
I think that's the classic, isn't it? It's that I think for some people listening, it will be the fear of the unknown, and their resistance will just be really strong, because that's what they've actually agreed to do in their soul contract. That's part of this whole journey. I've had, I'm fascinating in the mind, body, and energy connections, and I've had numerous physical things going on for me in this whole Inigma journey, which have been fascinating. And one of my latest, which is really interesting, is like a handcuff around my right wrist, and it's like, that's a fascinating one. That's like the man's foot on your foot. It's like a real, like, as though I haven't quite pieced it all together, but there's a real one. I get all the pokes in the back. There's definitely a bit where I have to go, okay, I'm listening.
Well, yeah. You'll have to feel into that, and I feel like it's a male guide wanting to get your attention.
Yeah.
Potentially a family member.
I think I know who it is. That's a
Yeah,
whole
it's
different.
like the whole thing.
That's a
Yeah,
whole different conversation.
yeah, yeah.
So let's, because we could talk about that for ages. Let's talk
Sure.
about what happens for the clients that you work with. So what happens for them? So if people are thinking, oh my goodness, this sounds like, I'm so intrigued. Who are the people that you love working with, and what's your outcome that you want them to achieve? So say, like, for me, I was like, Amanda, I just like, I'm just going to buy your thing, and just tell me where I start. And that's me, and that's how I've always bought. I said this on another episode, I've always bought like that. But there's lots of people that are very, considered, will take a long, long time and really think about things and really reflect on things, and that's their pattern. So
Yeah.
let people know if they're in that Speedy Gonzales path like me, or if they're in the a different way of being. What is it that you really shine a light on? What is it that is your ultimate person to work with?
My ultimate person to work with is someone that has been stuck for years. Not that they've got business success, but they've got dreams, and some people would consider them delusional dreams, like being on a stage and healing thousands, actually impacting millions through podcasts with their energetics as they speak, for example. I'm wanting to work with visionaries who have had a vision but haven't been able to actually put it into practice, to turn those dreams into reality, to be able to they've got an idea of a book that's been flowing to them. You see, all these dreams are not really dreams. These are so contracted things that they have wanted to actually implement, but they needed the right time. They needed to be in the right place, both educationally, in terms of the coaching background, etc., or healing background. So they needed to do, because every job and every training you've done is taking a step towards, and it's never not supposed to have happened, even though it might not have fit the bill totally to fill in that gap. Because what Enigma does is, once it's ignited in oneself, it literally, you work with a very set of Enigma guides, and the guides that I've just described step back. Your higher self comes back later on, but my Enigma team come in like, not like a forensic accountant, but they're kind of like, we're coming in and we're sorting you out. And you work hand in hand with them to let go of every single remaining thread of fear. That's how powerful it can be. It's a powerful, because they can see what's going on. And Angela, my higher self, works like as my teammate, and she acts as the higher self of every single person that comes in. And she's very persistent, isn't she? She's very
Yeah,
sweet and persistent.
she's really persistent.
Yeah. She won't take no for an answer when she wants you to let go of something, because she knows if you're resisting something, she will literally not leave your side, because she wants you. She can see what's going to be on at the other side. And so there's two journeys to take. Either you go all in and you watch every single video,
Like me.
and you get what's called yes, like you. So during this process, what we're doing is we're bringing you back to all that you are, meaning that everything that you have picked up along the way is shed. So you energetically expand into an advanced state, so that you can literally connect and understand what's being flowed to you from the ethereal realms. And this is we call it intelligence build. It's a way of, you can't translate what you don't understand, because there's some information that sometimes you have purposely put into your contract to stop you from understanding. And so all of that starts to disappear, so that you start to get you know, when you get those shifts in perspective, you're like, oh, now I see it differently. That's what happens. So those intelligence builds, and I'm all about empowering. And so what I'm hoping for is for everybody at the end of Enigma to feel like they don't need to ask another for guidance, because they literally have their own guidance system that's 100%, that's certain. They can have meetings with them. They can literally know exactly what they need to do for their clients, and be able to translate and collate, and people call it channeling. It's not quite what the best way to do it is describe it as channeling. You can channel books, you can channel programs, you can channel information and the ways of healing and treating and transforming people that is your specific bespoke thing that you had in non-physical, in the ethereal realms, that you're bringing here now, that nobody else has the ability to do, because you have thousands, if not millions, of people out there who are still contracted to work with you, that you're here to help. And this best way to describe it is the soul that I want to work with, and I'm here to work with, is a soul called You Are Millions, because you have the ability to transform millions and impact millions in your life with your work.
So exciting, isn't it?
And that's you.
It is so exciting, and everything that Amanda talks about, and is exactly my experience. I have shared a lot of fears. The biggest one that I openly talk about is the fear of rejection. And it's shown up in lots of different guises. And there's been places where Amanda has definitely mentored me and empowered me. And then there's been places where I'm like, I think it's this. And Amanda said yes. So I know I am learning that next level of receiving the information and then trusting myself that that is right, and not necessarily having to double check. So it is so exciting. It's for me personally, for anybody listening, for me, and like we're only like, not very long in, but for me, the clarity of who I am, the clarity of how I'm shaping the business, the clarity of what I'm charging, what's coming next, the clarity of trusting myself to roll out a program that I really create as I go week by week, because I'm creating with my intelligence build, then, and the bravery and courage to do that is like beyond anything that I've had before. But I trust that everything has brought me to this moment. So there's always this piece around trusting yourself to jump on a call with Amanda if you're like, do you know what? This feels like it's me. I feel like I am that leader. And do you know what? I'm a little bit terrified about actually owning that. And that was me. I was like, I have a massive fear of my greatness, because I am here for millions, and I claim that now because I've understood it more. But I remember pre-Amanda, I was like, I'm here for these really big things, but I'm not quite owning it. I'm still hiding.
But that was there for a reason, because it wasn't right time. So the hiding is, I'm the biggest kept secret out there. I'm about not to be the biggest kept secret, but I was not willing to have any. When I was working as an acupuncturist, I didn't do any social media. Nobody, start from scratch. So the reason why you were hiding was because you were preparing, you were earning and honoring your capabilities. And now it's about exploding out, because you're ready. You're absolutely ready with this new understanding and potency. And that's what I'm wanting. Those people that have been hiding, they're not really sure. And I'm here to propel them at warp speed. It's like, go on, off you go.
Yeah, crack on.
Come through
That's
here.
your phrase.
Go
crack
and
on.
change the world. Yeah, crack on, change the world.
Crack on.
Yeah, exactly.
I love the fact that you were hiding and now I've got you on my global podcast. That's like one step, but let's get into all of the countries. So
yeah,
like I've said, I've invited Amanda back in for another episode, 6 months, 9 months further down the line, where I will be able to reveal more about how I've transformed myself, transformed the business, transformed my clients in the way that I have been able to, because of the whole Inigma program, and because of that knowing and that nudge I had that Amanda was the right person for me to guide me into this next stage of life and transformation. So, how do people get hold of you if they are curious about Inigma?
So, just to understand a bit more about Inigma, my website is amandafarrar.co, and I have an Instagram, LinkedIn, or Facebook, and it's Amanda Farrar Healer. Basically, that's my that's the whatever it's called. I can't remember the name of it.
That's your handle.
So yeah, if they just use that. That's my handle.
That's your handle.
The word.
All of those details will be put under the show notes. Her handle, her website, and definitely what happens when you read the website. What happened to me? Well, I just went intuitively, Amanda, I need to talk to you. But then afterwards, I thought, let's just look at what I'm going to talk to her about. And as you read it, if you are energetically open, there'll be bits where you're like, this is just like written for me. And I think there's a real power in that, because there's a real mix of people on the program. They're not all like clones of me. The world couldn't cope with clones of me. Everybody's unique. Everybody's unique, and everybody brings their own, requirement why they join in. So it's interesting when you look, just sit with yourself, because if you're brand new to this, it's going to open up some things, and definitely jump on a call with Amanda. So.
Yeah, but I was just going to say, on the call, what I do is I actually do something called simulation. So it's like you pretend that you're actually in Inigma, and you can feel what it's like to feel the energy and how your life changes. My calls are not salesy at all, are they? In fact, I don't think, they're literally just, they're not sales. It's like, oh yeah, this is how you do it. This is where you signed up. I'm not pressured at all. It's like, I want people to want to do this. It's kind of like, this is the path. I remember when we did it with you, yours was on the water, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You could see yourself on the water. And then the other path with that Inigma, you're walking through nature. The thing is that everyone can get there on their own. It's just whether or not you want to do it a little bit faster at warp speed.
Well, I was,
isn't it? Really?
Yeah,
because yours was a speedboat.
I was on the speedboat, and then I went into a massive liner. Do you remember? I was standing on stage in a liner. And that is exactly what happens. Amanda is super open. Here is you. If you don't sign up, this is what you'll do. This is how it's going to feel. And because I've done so much energetics work, I was like, well, this feels quite good. This is kind of like what I know. This is what I'm familiar with. And then we went to Inigma, and I'm like on this speedboat. It's like, oh, I actually this is kind of like, I'm ready for that ride. That was my experience. And so I was like, I couldn't not go on that ride. Yeah. But definitely jump on a call, because you will have your version of that. So my final question, like I ask all of my guests, is about what is a book that has made a real impact in your life, in either, helped you understand who you are or your personal growth, or some elements around that.
Well, I would say right back when I was in the 90s, I mentioned it before, Brandon Bay's The Journey was one of the most impactful books, because what her journey into herself to find her own fears helped her transform her cancer within 6 weeks. And what it did was open my eyes to the possibility that we can change ourselves and our world around us through transforming our fears. And she still teaches. She's flipping awesome. She was the precursor to just so many transformational RTT, all of this belief coding. She really was the precursor to all of it. She was ahead of her time. So that is a fabulous book to read. And it really it deeply changed my life. Working on her, using her method on myself, actually.
Love it. I'm going to definitely read that book. I will probably inhale that book. And the book will be in the show notes below for anyone that's like, oh, I'm curious about that book. It'll be in the show notes as well, as well as how to get hold of Amanda. So as we wrap up, is there anything else you want to share to the world that's listening about, your purpose, your role, what it is that you do, and how it impacts others?
Okay, so I'm here. My purpose is to lead visionary healers, visionary experts, visionary leaders, basically. I'm here as an empowerer. So my purpose is to empower. Always, I sprinkle things through all my work to bring people, all my clients, to the place where they can stand in their own power. And then it's like I'm in the wings and I'm gently saying, go on, you can do this. You can do this. And then they're standing there and I'm like, yes, they're doing it. Changing the world. Because I'm here to help millions, trillions, but through all my clients that come through Inigma. It's the millions that they're impacting that I'm here to support them to get to the place where they can transform millions of lives. I'm in that background role, empowering role.
I love it.
I never tell. I always guide and mentor.
100%.
So,
yeah, 100%. You are full on in that mentoring space, which is really interesting for me because I think I've probably had experience in the past where the people haven't necessarily said they were the mentor. That's been more coaching, or more strategy, or that just a different way. But you very much are that, like you say, in the wings and watching somebody fly. I'm there. My role with my people is like I'm on the stage with them, jumping up and down with them.
Yes. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. That's perfect. Yeah. I cannot tell you how happy it makes me to feel when people are out there in the world doing their thing, making millions, helping millions.
Yeah, it is a true joy.
That's where I'm at.
So thank you so much for being my guest on the Becoming Fearless podcast. I have loved chatting with you, and I will bring you on again when we're in more countries and I'm further on the journey and we are further on in terms of explaining some of the things that I've gone through by working alongside you and creating more things for the millions. So thank you so much. I truly appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
You are so welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been brilliant.
You are so welcome. Bye everyone. I'll see you on the next episode. Thank you for tuning into this week's episode. I hope that you're feeling energized, fearless, and inspired to take action today to stand in your greatness. I share even more tools and resources on my I Dare to Leap email newsletter. By signing up, you not only get early access to the I Dare to Leap products and services, but you also get brand new podcast episodes delivered straight to your inbox every Monday, meaning you'll never miss your weekly dose of becoming fearless energy. Sign up now at www.idaretoleap.com/newsletter or click the link in the show notes below.